Hi, this is Jin here again. Today I'm gonna talk about two muscles I mentioned last time. So, okay, it is in 57 page in my book. So if you are interested in my book, I'll leave the link in the description. So please check it out later. Anyways, we have two muscles, the flexor muscle and extensor muscle. So flexor muscle is just like you use it unconsciously. Of course, you use extensor muscle unconsciously, but in internal martial arts, we train the extensor muscle consciously. That is a big different part. So let me give you an example about the using flexor muscle and extensor muscle. So when you lift some heavy stuff, or when you what's that? When you saw a log, or what else? When you have a weight training, like in the gym. So usually it's about some kind of pulling power. And in other hands, you use extensor muscle when you push the door, push the heavy object or something like that. So it's mostly about pushing something. But you use flexor muscle most of the time, but you use the extensor muscle when you push the door, something like that. And you don't use extensor muscle beside that. Anyways, you use it pretty naturally, so you don't recognize it. But as you can see, when you generate power, your muscle tense, so your muscle becomes stiff. But when you use extensor muscle, your muscle doesn't become stiff, and it is not tense. So that is a more ideal power to use. For example, when you focus on something, for example, when you learn something, when you study something hard, then your brain is automatically nervous. Your body has some kind of tension. And when you generate a power, it's the same thing. For example, if you lift a heavy object, then you focus on it and your muscle is stiff and tense. But what if you can generate power, I mean the big power, with a small effort or effortlessly? That is ideal. So if you activate extensor muscle rather than flexor muscle, then it is possible. So every procedure of the internal martial arts training is cultivate the extensor muscle. You can see these two muscles in anatomy map. There's a many red and white part, and they are also called red muscle and white muscle. And white muscle also called tendon and ligament. That's what we are training. You can see the map here as well, but this is not anatomy map. It's about just a meridian. But you can find it in anatomy map online. Let me talk about the feature of red muscle and white muscle. The red muscle is very slow, and it looks powerful, but it's not. The advantage of using red muscle is it's easy to build up, but you can lose it very quickly if you don't keep training. Especially if you get older, then it is hard to keep it. On the other hand, the extensor muscle is mostly opposite. It is more powerful, and it takes pretty long time to cultivate or build up. You can keep it pretty long even though you get aged. So you can see some older martial artists still perform good. It's because of that they have trained the tendon and ligament for a long time, and it doesn't get aged so quickly like red muscle. And in order to build up white muscle, you should train slowly. That's why most internal martial arts practice slowly. You can see Tai Chi practitioners practice slowly, so that is the reason. Of course, we don't practice slowly all the time. There is several stages. First stage, we practice slowly. Second stage, practice quickly. And third stage, slowly again. So we return to the first stage. And fourth stage, practice quickly again. That means I return to the stage 2. And fifth stage, that is the last stage, so we mix all together, quick and slow. So when you see some internal martial artist practitioner, they just like and quick and slow, and quick and slow. So there is a reason why we practice quick and slow, because it accelerated physical power. So imagine when you when you spin a ball with a string, you swing it pretty slowly in the beginning, right? And you accelerate the speed gradually. And last time, you will be getting faster. It's kind of similar to physics theory. If you ever study the physics, and it's much easier to understand it. And why practicing slowly is important? Because if you practice quickly all the time, then it is really hard to recognize what is going on in your body. So you have to practice slowly, and you observe what's going on in your body. Of course, even though I say we use extensor muscle, it doesn't mean we don't use flexor muscle at all, because as I said last time, it's impossible to do that. Otherwise, you cannot even stand without flexor muscle. You can see it even in the West as well, especially many coaches who has many experience. They always says relax, relax, because they know your body is relaxed, then you can generate a bigger power, and they found it in their experience. But the power we use in internal martial arts is a little bit different. It's not completely relaxed. It's between relax and tension, and we should find in the middle. So we should find the balance between tension and relax. And when you reach the level to manage it naturally and freely, then you can tell you obtain the internal power. And let me tell you about my story as well. When I moved to the West first time, and it was Australia, and I opened the class, and I collected some students, and I showed some push hands demonstration. One of my students asked me after watching it, and he said, "Oh, how many times do you push up every single day?" Well, And I said, 0. You can see I don't have so much muscle. My arms are so thin. I don't have like big muscle like athletes or something like that, or sportsmen. Mostly general people don't understand this concept because it is out of common sense. So the power doesn't come from my body itself, but it came from the earth. Probably you heard some Tai Chi instructor said, "Oh, we use universal power or universal chi." Yeah, it sounds like kind of magic. Yeah, they just want to sell their product with a fancy decoration with bells and whistles. But you should interpret it well. So what is the universal power? Is one of them is gravity. So we use gravity. Gravity is the biggest power, and nobody can fight against it in the earth. And in order to use the gravity, you should change your body mechanism. That's why we build up extensor muscle. So there are so many theories for that. So if you read my book, and I added some pictures in it, and you can understand much easier. And English is much better in my book because English is not my first language. So it is not easy to explain properly or precisely to me. So that's why I published the book, because I asked someone to edit it. The first edition was not edited, so it was pretty broken English. So many people complained it. so I asked someone to edit it. So the second edition is much better. So it will be much easier to understand it. So I strongly recommend you to take a look. Okay, next time I'll talk to you about more system. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.